Good morning, good morning.
Look.
Say, how are you doing today?
How are you doing today?
Okay, I'm following you.
Okay,
Let's go do a day in a life.
I see animators, if they talk about life, they're always going to say stuff.
Okay, very good. All right, so let's go ahead and do the green.
Zero.
Yeah. Thank you for putting these away for me. Okay, go ahead.
Where is zero?
That's O. O. O.
Oh.
Yeah, you just put it on that. That's Q. Where's O? Very good. You got it. Keep on going. Very good. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you are not already subscribed, share this video to someone who you may think could find this content to be of value, and click that notification bell, y'all, so when I have another video that's up for you homeschoolers or after schoolers, you be the first one to find out. Now, let's dive right on in to the topic at hand. About this, I want to let you know I am purposefully making these videos without visual appeal, meaning you're not seeing my face. That's done intentionally because when I'm talking about something serious or something related to business, I don't want you to get distracted with what I look like, what's going on in the background, whether I'm in my car, in my home. I don't want you to be distracted. I want you to sit back, get a cup of coffee, water, cocoa, milk, wine, juice, whatever beverage, tea you want to get. The intent of these types of videos is for you to sit back and just listen. So hopefully you find some value in what I'm about to talk about and read to you. If you want a copy of what I will be discussing today, just look in the description box below. I did keep a copy, or I did insert a copy of the YouTube's term and conditions prior to December 10th, 2019, and the revised terms and conditions that will take effect again on December 10th, 2019. So this document, I think, is pretty well written in comparison to what was written before. It's designed to be easy to read. It's designed to be easy to understand. I had my 11-year-old sixth grader review this document with me. We talked about it, and he understood the information outside of some of the legal jargon that was discussed. He understood it. I discussed the terms and conditions with him, and I also discussed what's taking place with COPPA, or COPPA, however you want to pronounce it. I will put a card right now, look up, on the right or left side of this video, and I will put a link to my prior video of what I think COPPA is all about and how it may potentially impact the homeschool community, after schooling community, and the YouTubers that create family-friendly content. So hopefully you found that of benefit as well. So let's jump in. The first page of the terms and conditions just gives you a brief summary of what you can expect in terms of a highlight of what some of the changes will be, but they don't dive into detail on the first page. It's just a summary to help you understand the key updates of the terms and condition. On the second page, I want to read the introduction. I'm not going to read every single line to you. I just want to pinpoint and highlight specific areas that I thought was important. And if you are a content creator here on YouTube, more than likely you will find this information that I'm sharing with you beneficial. If you are a content creator in the homeschooling community, this will be even more beneficial to you, for I will be touching in that area. So the introduction says, Thank you for using the YouTube platform. And anytime they say the word service throughout the terms and condition, just bear in mind that they're specifically referring to the YouTube platform. Down in that down below where it says welcome to YouTube, they have something called applicable terms where they reference the YouTube community guidelines. That's something you want to read on your own time. So don't allow your folks to spam you when you're on a live. And even if you're not on a live and you're doing a premiere as an example, or if you may have folks who provide or kind of submit multiple emoji signs or things of that nature, anything that is considered to be spam, YouTube has the right to disable not only your YouTube account, but your Google account. That means your Google Drive, all your folders, gone. Your email, gone. Photos, gone. YouTube account, gone. So please bear that in mind. That did recently happen to a YouTuber that had like 25 million followers. He had a live. He was asking them to put some emojis to vote on something or to show a sign of agreement or disagreement. And those that continue to spam the emoji, maybe put it like 5 or 6 times, they found themselves with a disabled Google account. So they're working that out. So if that can happen to someone who has 25 million followers, which means they are making money off YouTube and YouTube is making ching ching off of them, it can happen to you. So again, read the YouTube community guidelines. So it also says here, please read this agreement carefully and make sure you understand it. If you do not understand this agreement or you do not accept any part of it, then you may not use the service. So if you read these guidelines and you don't understand it, or you do understand it and you say, I disagree with this and that and this and that, you might as well stop using YouTube, because they're not going to change it for you unless the community as a whole gets together, petitions, influencers get on the same page and have a seat at the table in terms of these terms and conditions. It's not going to happen. So bear that in mind too. We're still on that second page. At the bottom it says who may use this service. They are saying up front, and this is dealing with COPPA, age requirements. You must be at least 13 years of age to use the service. So if your child is not 13, they're not supposed to be using YouTube, watching YouTube, logging into YouTube. My son is 11 and he watches YouTube for homeschooling videos. When he was in school, public school full time, I had him watch YouTube for after schooling videos. And when I say homeschooling and after schooling videos, there are many platforms out there, well, not platforms, content creators out there that make content specifically for students in school. Your Khan Academy, your crash courses, your Math Mammoth, your, what is it called? I forget the other names, but there are hundreds, thousands of content creators out there that create videos to help your kiddos in school for all and any type of subject. So if they're saying you must be at least 13 years old to use YouTube, that's a problem right there. Okay? But they have to say that because of COPPA. However, children of all ages may use YouTube Kids where available. So if you're under 13, go to YouTube Kids. However, YouTube Kids can only be used if enabled by a parent or legal guardian, no problem. If you go on YouTube Kids right now, I'm making this video November 2019. If you go onto YouTube Kids, you're not going to find those educational content or that educational content there. You're not going to find your math tutorials, your language art tutorials, your writing tutorials, your science helpers, your geography, information. You're not going to find all that helpful information that is useful for kids that are in elementary and middle and high school. You're not going to find that on YouTube Kids. So maybe with this change, some of those creators will move there. But if they move there, I'm not sure what the monetization is like and if the earnings are the same, since they can't do targeted ads over there on YouTube Kids. The second thing it says is permission by parent or guardian. If you're under 18, you represent that you have your parent or guardian's permission to use the service. Please have them read this agreement with you. So again, they're reiterating, if you're between the age of 13 and 18, you are saying that your parents have given you permission to use YouTube and you both have read this agreement. So again, that leads me to believe what I initially said. If you're under the age of 13, you shouldn't be even watching YouTube. We're going to move down to where it says business. If you are using the service on behalf of a company or organization, you represent that you have the authority to act on behalf of that entity and that such entity accepts this agreement. So if you have a business platform to conduct business, you're saying that you understand the terms and conditions of this agreement and that your business accepts this agreement. Remember what it said in the beginning. It told you to read it carefully, and whether or not you understand it or you agree with it, if you don't, and any part don't agree with it or accept it, you shouldn't be using the service. Okay, so they're just reiterating that point. So now we're under the heading of your use of the service. And it says content on the service. The content on the service includes, your videos, audio, graphics, pictures, text, comments, scripts, brandings, logos, interactive features, software, metrics, and other materials, whether provided to you, YouTube, or a third party. So again, they're saying the content on the service. So the content that I just mentioned that's on the YouTube platform is the responsibility of the person or entity, which is the business, that provides it to the service. So YouTube is not responsible or are they under any obligation to host or serve the content. So what you put on their platform is your responsibility. It's not YouTube's responsibility. And they're letting you know right here that YouTube is under no obligation to host or serve your content. Okay? It's a free service, you guys. So they're basically saying they can cancel YouTube at any time. They can cancel your account at any time. They can even cancel your Google accounts, your drives, your emails, your photos, your access. They are under no obligation to host or serve content, your content, any content. Okay? Keep that in mind. It also, and when I think about that, and I think about what I spoke to you before about the COPPA law, and I said how the FTC and the state of New York filed a complaint against YouTube, and YouTube went ahead and paid that $170 million and 30 something million going to the state of New York. That also leads me to believe that if they're telling you that they're under no obligation to host the content or serve the content, which is what you put on their platform, again, videos, branding, photos, graphics, whatever. If they're under no obligation to host those things, that also leads me to believe that they can cancel state accounts. We'll talk about that later. Further down under your use of the service, they have permissions and restrictions. And this is where they talk about you can view or listen to content for your personal non-commercial use. They go and speak about the restrictions that apply to your use of the service. And then go and discuss some of the things that you cannot do as a user of their platform. It says here you cannot access or reproduce any, where it says, access, reproduce, download, distribute, transmit, broadcast, display, sell, license, alter, modify, or otherwise use any part of the service or content except, and it tells you um, as expressly authorized by the service or with prior written permission from YouTube, and if applicable, the respective rights holder. So basically, you can't sell access. YouTube is a free service. You can't go and tell someone, "Hey, pay me $10 and I'll allow you to use YouTube." You can't do that. Okay, you can't circumvent the service. You can't circumvent the system. You can't use bots. You're not supposed to encourage any inaccurate measurements of genuine user engagement. So you can't fake your popularity. You can't say, hey, to one of these influencers or these popular YouTubers, you can't say, hey, I'm going to give you $200 if send viewers over to me. Or um, you can't sell your popularity in order to increase someone else's views or likes or dislikes and things of that nature. That happens all the time, in my opinion. You can't misuse reporting, flagging, or filing complaints or disputes. You cannot misuse that process. It also says here. Well, let me go back. When I just spoke about how they said you can't pay people or provide them with incentives to increase like video views, likes, dislikes, or to increase a channel's subscriber base or manipulate metrics. Now, doesn't that apply to ads? Isn't that the purpose of ads? I don't know. Maybe not. Um, Maybe it's not the intent, but this part, the lawyers who wrote this part can probably be just a bit clearer, because I would think this includes ads. That's the point of ads. You're providing incentives, but I don't know. Hey, I'm not a lawyer, but that surely can be cleaned up a bit. So again, I'm still under permissions and restrictions. I'm on number 9. It says the use of service to view or listen to content other than personal or non-commercial use. So to me, when I read that, what about like if you're a homeschooler and you go to a co-op and you watch or you showcase a YouTube video for whatever class you're teaching. Co-ops are not usually free. You're paying a price in order to join a co-op. A co-op, if you are unfamiliar, is where homeschoolers can allow their kiddos to meet with other homeschoolers. Parents normally are the teachers, and they are teaching maybe some core classes or elective classes. It's normally once to twice per week for just a few hours for socialization, for doing science projects, art projects. You may be uncomfortable with teaching a specific subject like math or history within your personal home base, so you kind of outsource it to the co-op. And what about a normal traditional public private school? In those settings, if they're saying use of the service to view or listen to its content other than for personal non-commercial use, if that's restricted, what about those? I don't know, but something to think about. Maybe this could be a little bit more clearer as well. But again, they use the word non-commercial use, so that may clear it up. But the reason why I bring that up is because in parentheses they say, for example, you may not publicly screen videos or stream music from the service. So if I'm not at home in my personal space listening, watching YouTube, I'm not supposed to be streaming it publicly or screening their videos publicly. So again, that leads me to believe what I said earlier about co-ops and the classroom setting. So the whole non-commercial use and what they put in the parentheses kind of makes it a little vague. So that could be a little clearer there. So now I'm under the heading of reservation, still under your use of the service. So for reservation, it says using the service does not give you ownership of or rights to any aspect of the service, including your own username. So just because you're using YouTube, you don't have any rights, you don't have any ownership to any aspect of the service, including your username and any other content posted by others or YouTube. So remember when I discussed in my other video in COPPA or COPPA, however you want to pronounce it, I said that the FTC is considering one of the revisions they're considering is making content creators on YouTube operators. And how to me that really doesn't make sense because we have no say in YouTube's operations. We don't have any say in their marketing process. We don't have any say in whether or not they're using our videos or our popularity for those who are considered influencers. We don't have any say in how they market them. So this part here also says using the service doesn't give you ownership or rights to YouTube, not even our username. So how could the FTC consider us to be operators? So again, if you have not put in a comment to the FTC to kind of express the importance of allowing family-friendly content to stay on YouTube, I think it'd be helpful if you do. So again, look back at the other video. Comments are being accepted by the FTC until December 9th, 2019 as of this video. Let's continue reading. Changes to the service. It says here, YouTube is constantly changing and improving the service. Okay, we know that. We may also need to alter or discontinue the service or any part of it in order to make performance or security improvements, change functionality and features, make changes to comply with the law, or prevent illegal activity or abuse of our systems. These changes may affect all users, some users, or even an individual user. Guys, that is drop the mic. Boom, right there. If I can, insert audio clips of crashes and mics dropping or something, I would, but I'm not. But this is not different. If you look at the past or the current terms and conditions, it says something like this. So this is nothing new. They didn't add this. In my opinion, they just made it clearer. They just made it stand out so you clearly understand that as an individual user, they can remove your access. They can alter the service. They can discontinue the service in part or in whole, okay, in order to make performance or security improvements or change functionality, change features, or they can do that to make changes to comply with the law or to prevent any illegal activity on or abuse of the system. So remember when I said earlier how some people got their YouTube accounts and Google accounts completely disabled for spamming on a live, as an example, or spamming on YouTube videos? This is going to make it clear to you that they can do that. They can take away your comments. They can take away your whole channel. They can take away your Google Drive, your email. And then what happens? Guys, when I read this, although again it was in the other one, but this one kind of hit home because they made it plain and clear. They didn't sugarcoat anything. I'm backing up all my information within my Google Drive. Because what about if I make a mistake or something happens? I'm going to lose everything.
No, baby is crying.
My baby is crying?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, baby. Can you close the door for me?
Just you leave the door open.
You can't, you shouldn't eat. You shouldn't talk with food in your mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. Close the door for me, please. Close the door for me, please.
Wait.
So again, Google, YouTube, they're being clearer in saying that they have the final say, the final authority, and they can cancel everyone, a few or just one. Okay? Keep that in mind. And it says, whenever reasonably possible, we will provide notice when we discontinue or make material changes to our service that will have an adverse impact on the use of the service. Thank you. They'll give us prior notice, or they give you prior notice. And then they say, however, you understand and agree that there will be times when we make such changes without notice, such as where we feel we need to take action to improve the security and operability of the service, prevent abuse, or comply with legal requirements. They're making it clear. Okay, I'll mention what I was about to say a little later in the video. So keep that in mind. With COPPA and FTC, okay, and the state of New York filed a complaint against YouTube. Okay, YouTube updated the terms and conditions of the services. They're making it very clear for you to understand what they can do and what you basically cannot do. As a user, as a content creator, you don't have any say in how they run their business. So if you are unhappy with what you're hearing, or if you are unhappy with what I'm reading and what's taking place in the terms and conditions, again, like they said in their opening, if you do not understand the agreement or do not accept it at any part, you may not use the service. Now I'm on the heading, the content and conduct. So here under uploading content, they're just saying, this is about copyright laws, fair use laws. It says you are legally responsible for the content you submit to the service. That is important. You are legally responsible for the content you submit to the service. So this whole COPPA thing that's taking place, and whatever decision YouTube decides to make to protect its business, its entity, its assets, they have inserted here that you are legally responsible, content creator, for what you put on their platform. Okay? You may use, it says here, we may use the automated systems that analyze your content to help detect infringement and abuse, such as spam, malware, and illegal content. So here, remember with the whole COPPA situation, how they did a complete sweep on every channel, every video, and they had some type of algorithm to determine and decipher what videos are potentially child directed, and they automatically changed your audience to child directed. This is letting you know that they can do that. Okay, they can use automated systems to analyze your content to help detect infringement, abuse, and all that other jargon I just mentioned. And also, this is also leading me to believe this is why some comments on some videos, like if you look at homeschooling videos, it's like, why are some of the comments disabled? But this leads me to believe here, this is why some comments are disabled and the comments can be turned off. YouTube can do whatever they think that is best. Okay. They should also just include here controversial or controversial subject matter too, because they were saying here they can use their automated systems to analyze all this stuff to detect abuse and spam. But they can just say, if we don't like the subject that you're talking about, then we can go ahead and turn off your comments or disable or do whatever the heck we want to. Okay. Now YouTube does have an appeal process, but guess what? There's nobody you can go to appeal the appeal process. YouTube is the final say, the final authority, guys. The next subheading says rights you grant. It says you retain ownership rights to your content, which is great. However, they require that you grant certain rights to YouTube and other users of the service, and they go and talk about license to YouTube, license to others. In my opinion, by them adding this is just saying they can use your content. YouTube can use your channel to promote itself, to market, to do whatever. Okay. Let's go down. It says duration of license. It says licenses granted by you. So wait, I'm sorry. It says the licenses granted by you continue for a commercially reasonable period of time after you remove or delete your content from the service. So they basically say that YouTube decides how long they can use your channel, your content, for commercial use, even if you remove or delete your content. However, they can retain the data basically, but they're not going to display or distribute the data or sell server copies of your videos or anything like that once you remove it. So even if you delete your YouTube channel and all your videos, YouTube sets the timeline. It says reasonable period of time. It does not state how many months or years, so they can make that decision how long they can keep your content to use it for commercial use, however they deem necessary. And it also says here under remove your content, you can remove your content at any time off YouTube, and they'll also give you an option to make a copy of your content before you actually delete it and remove yourself off of YouTube. So that's cool. That's nice. Let me see. It also says removal of content by YouTube. If we, YouTube, reasonably believe that any content is in breach of this agreement or may cause harm to YouTube users or third parties, we may remove or take down your content at our discretion. So if they think at any point in time that whatever your content is putting out there, whatever you're discussing, if they believe that it breaches any of this agreement, to include those YouTube community guidelines, and they believe that you're going to cause harm to YouTube, which means money, reputation, things like that, or you're going to cause harm to other users of the platform or third parties, then they can take you down. They can remove you at their discretion. They determine what those specific things are. Okay. Let's keep going down. Account suspension and termination. Terminations by you. You may stop using the service at any time. Okay. It also says again, you will have an option to download a copy of your data first. Great. The next one says terminations and suspensions by YouTube for cause. YouTube may suspend or terminate your access, your Google account, your Google account's access to all or part of the service if you materially or repeatedly breach this contract. We are required to do so to comply with legal requirement or a court order, and or we believe that there has been conduct that creates or could create liability or harm to any user, third party, YouTube, or our, meaning YouTube's affiliates. This is an important one. So they can terminate or suspend. Again, they can terminate or suspend your access, your Google account. That is your drive, your photos, your email. Y'all better have a, what is it called? A backup drive or something, especially if you're using the drive like I do. And I have everything in that. I have my life in there. To include like my emails and stuff. Start putting those things on a backup drive, because even if they shut it down or something happens, it's a glitch or whatever, how are you going to get access to your stuff? What about something happens to, I'm putting this word in quotations, the cloud? What are you going to do if you can't access your email? You may have job options in there. You can have your resumes in there. You may have critical information within your email or your drives. Guys, keep a backup, okay? Because if you're a content creator, you just don't know. These terms and conditions allow YouTube to do whatever the heck they want to do. And they can potentially notify you or not notify you. They're making it clear they have the final say. They can do what they need to do. And listen to this part. This is important. We already know they can do that if you materially or repeatedly breach the contract. We understand that. But it also says we are required to do so to comply with a legal requirement or a court order. So let's think about COPPA again. Okay. If something happens in the future or they decide they need to ramp up something in order to comply with this law, they can say, we're going to terminate all accounts temporarily. They can say we're going to terminate this group's account, this state's account, this region's account, this country's account, temporarily or permanently. They can make that decision. Yes, they'll give you notification so you can back up whatever information you may have uploaded to any of their platforms or any of their accounts, but they're letting you know that they can suspend or terminate in order to comply with any legal requirement or court order. So this leads me to think about the fact again that New York City was a part of the FTC complaint. Okay, they both put the complaint out on Google and its subsidiary YouTube. So what happens if a state decides that a social media platform is no longer allowed in their state, or certain content won't be allowed within their state? A state can make that decision based on whatever legislation is passed. So I think this is a CYA for YouTube, letting us users and content creators know that if they have to suspend or terminate your individual access or a group's access or everyone's access, they can do that to comply with a legal requirement or court order. Okay? Let me see. And again, that also includes, talking about stuff they or a third party or affiliate disagrees with that may create liability or harm. So if an affiliate thinks your channel, your content, creates harm in some way, reputation, harm, and they're losing money or whatever, they're letting you know they can do what they want. The next one says terminations by YouTube for service changes. YouTube may terminate your access or your Google account's access to all or part of the service if YouTube believes in its sole discretion, they added in its sole discretion, that provision of the service to you is no longer commercially viable. I've been hearing about this whole commercially viable thing on YouTube, and I think people are getting it wrong because they're not reading what this says. A lot of videos, when they talk about commercially viable, they're saying if your channel is not commercially viable, if your content is not commercially viable and you're not bringing in money for YouTube, you're gone. They can terminate you. It doesn't say that. It says YouTube may terminate your access or your Google account's access to all or part of the service if YouTube believes in its sole discretion, listen carefully, in its sole discretion, that provision of the service to you is no longer commercially viable. They didn't say that provision of the service to them. No, that the provision of the service to you, that them providing the service to you, by them leaving YouTube as a platform, if that is no longer commercially viable for YouTube, the business, yeah, they can terminate YouTube. They can terminate your access or your Google account in its entirety. Remember, they said earlier, an individual, a group, or everyone. Okay, so they can terminate that because of whatever is taking place. So when I read this, again, it has nothing to do with your channel not bringing in money. Nothing to do with that. Okay, we have to read what the terms and conditions say. But again, I think this means that YouTube can shut itself down. YouTube can shut its services down. Google can shut its services down in whole or part. If, let's say, if that service is no longer valuable to you, if that service can no longer be available to you, okay? Maybe in your state, in your country, in your region, if they can no longer provide that service to you for whatever reason, and again, it talks about throughout the contract, you can imply what some of those reasons are: legal requirement, court order, if it creates liability, breaches of contract. They're just saying if they can no longer provide that service to you, they can no longer be commercially viable to you, your state, your country, your region, whoever, yeah, they can shut the service down in whole or part. This also leads me to believe, what about changes in politics, changes in regulation? Whatever the reason is, they're just making it clear. If it doesn't make business sense to them to continue with this platform or with the Google services in your region, your area, your state, whatever, because of policy, because of regulation, because of liability, legal issues, court orders, they can terminate the service all the way. Okay, shut it down. But they tell you throughout the terms and conditions, they will tell you, and you will have time to download your data if you are a content creator. Okay, so I wanted to make that really clear because there are a lot of fear mongers out there on YouTube with this commercially viable thing, and they're making it seem as though if you're a small YouTuber and you aren't bringing in money, then you're gone, poof, be gone in the wind. No, that's not what it says. Okay. Um, Next, it says notice for termination or suspension. YouTube's sole discretion. They make the final decision, y'all. That's what they're continuing to, make sure you understand. And they talk about the appeal process if your account is suspended or terminated. They have an appeal process, but again, they're the appeal to the appeal process. If they say no, I'm done, then no, they're done. You can bring your lawyers, you can bring your friends, you can bring whatever you want. They make the final decision. There's nothing you can do. Okay? And it also says if you believe that your account was terminated in error, that's what the appeal process is for. If you think they did something wrong, then they'll hear you out. Let me take a drink of water. 1 second. This water's good, guys. Excuse me. When you drink a good cold glass of whatever, and then after you drink it, you have to smack your lips and go, whew, it's good. Okay. Sorry. So now I'm towards the end where it says other legal terms. Listen carefully. Under limitation of liability. Okay. When I saw this, I laughed because they are letting you know again, even more clearer and straightforward, how much they have no responsibility or no obligation to do anything for you. Okay. It says here, except as required by applicable law, YouTube, its affiliates, officers, directors, employees, agents will not be responsible for any loss of profits, revenues, business opportunities, goodwill, or anticipated savings, loss, or corruption of data, indirect or consequential loss, punitive damages caused by, and it has 7 things here: errors, mistakes, or inaccuracies on the service; personal injury, property damages resulting from the use of the service; any unauthorized access to or use of the service; any interruption of the service. Any viruses, malicious codes transmitted to or through the service by any third party. Any content, whether submitted by a user or by YouTube, including your use of the content and or the removal of or any unavailability of any content. This provision applies to any claim, regardless of whether the claim is asserted is based on warranty, contract, tort, or any other legal authority. YouTube is letting us know, as users and content creators, it doesn't matter what happens on this platform, their hands are washed. They don't have any legal responsibility. If your computer got a virus because you watched a video and a virus or malicious content was transferred to your personal laptop, phone, whatever, you can't sue YouTube. YouTube's not in it. If YouTube made a mistake or an error or there was any inaccuracies in any part of their service, you can't sue them for that. Even if you lost your business that's on YouTube, even if you are in a lawsuit with somebody else because of an error, a mistake, anything, you cannot come to YouTube. You cannot sue a officer, a director, an employee, an agent, an affiliate. If you lost money, if you lost business opportunity, if there was corruption of data, nothing. They have no legal responsibility for anything that happens on their platform. Okay? So I hope you learned something from this video. I hope you took something of value. I hope I said something that helped you become more of an informed consumer of their service, or a more informed user of their service, a more informed content creator on their service. I hope this video was beneficial to you. I hope your week is going well. I hope your day is bountifully blessed. And for all my homeschoolers and my after schoolers who are listening to this video, keep homeschooling on, you guys. I know it gets tough. Sometimes we want to just throw our hat in, especially with all this stuff that's taking place on YouTube. If you are a user of it and you use it to help your kiddos learn in their educational journey, or if you use the platform to learn for your own personal educational journey or professional journey or personal journey, whatever it is, please support family-friendly content. Leave your comment with the FTC about how important it is for these channels to stay up, because your kiddos use them, you use them. Again, comments are open until the 9th of December 2019. If you're watching this video after that date and they extended it, please consider making a comment, and hopefully things turn out well for those who are using the platform for good. All right, guys, thank you for listening. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it with someone if you think it's going to be a benefit, and click that notification bell so when I upload another video for the homeschooling or after schooling community, you will be the first to find out. All right, guys, be blessed. And as always, make it a great, great day.